Hey, I'm Alan R, and you've tuned to Motor Matters, your favorite channel, I hope, for checking out car reviews, all things that happen in the motoring world. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now. Because today we're talking Toyota's CHR, the car that was a radical departure from conservative Toyota styling when they launched it a couple of years ago. It's still pretty radical today, in fact, if you have a look at the overall styling, which we'll show you as we look at the car. This is the top of the range luxury version, and they've added some extra spec to it, because you'll see we have tested CHR before, but they changed the spec slightly, so they gave it to us again. Very interesting, neat front end. Over here, massive Toyota badge, of course, but it's the angles and the shapes that stand out on a CHR. It's carried over, for example, to the Corolla hatch to a large extent, and you'll see it. Massive daytime running lights across the top over here. You've got those. You've got these projection headlights. Got all these sort of features that, of course, you'd expect from a car in this category these days. And little fog lights down at the bottom. Big lower grille area here, low front end. Unusual color to the car as well. I've got a comment on the coloring. Sort of purple brown hue to it, which I would never think of buying a car in this color myself, but well, it does stand out and it's pretty distinctive, let me say that much for it. You come around, you've got nice bitone mag wheels over here, 18 inches on this car, so they're pretty big wheels for a car of this size. And of course, because this is, I'm going to call it a coupe crossover, note the cladding around the wheel arches, and note the cladding down at the bottom, of course, below the doors, because they want you to think you're in a crossover coupe type vehicle, that little niche that has appeared in the market these days and has become pretty popular around the market. Of course, another feature of CHR that has been copied by a few other brands along the way is the high handle for the back doors. So why don't I just climb in the back while we're doing this quickly and have a look here. Taking into account the driver's seat is set for me. Legroom is, I'm going to say fair. I'm not going to say exceptional. And headroom in the back, well, I clear with my hat on, so I can't complain about that. I do make it, and that's the only thing that really counts, is the factor that I do have that clearance. So I'd say that the space in the rear is fair to decent, and that's the important thing. You'll notice, because this is the luxury version, you've got full leather trim, things like that. We'll check it out a bit later on. Come around to the rear end, and again you've got some very distinctive styling over here. You've got a pretty fancy spoiler up at the top over here. You can see pretty racy looking item, and another spoiler built in over there on the boot lid, can we call it. Headlights split, as you can see, and these very sharp angles again. Note the angles everywhere on the car, and I think that is a feature for you to look at. Pop open the boot lid. No auto opening and closing, but well. Now, what I do like is the fact that you've got a level loading lip over here. You don't have to lift over to get to there. But having said that, there's no depth to the boot, is there? Which means if you look at the parcel shelf, that's not a lot of boot space over there. And underneath, you've got a space saver spare wheel even. So your boot is limited. It's, again, especially with cars of this style, that trade-off. Do you want back seat or boot? Boot or back seat? And that you've got to choose. You can obviously drop the rear seats 2/3, 1/3 if you want to load more, but then you do lose seats. So it's the choice, of course, you will make. CHR range is powered by a 1.2 litre 4-cylinder turbo engine. 85 kilowatts, 185 newton meters. Got to say that on the road, it actually feels like it could even be a touch more than that. It feels pretty sporty. And it's front wheel drive, of course. The wheels are powered by Toyota's CVT automatic gearbox. And I'll say right now up front, one of the better examples of a CVT. Let's check it out on the road. Let's have a look at the features inside that make this new luxury version. Well, on the road, let's have a look, and as we come round in our favorite area now, you'll see my first point is that CVT Auto just is seamless and you don't notice it. I didn't notice shifts much at all in this car. Mentioned just now that the power to weight ratio is obviously very, very good because it feels sporty. It's got a sporty ride. It's got those big 17-inch wheels on it, so it's got a good ride to it. It's smooth, it's comfortable. The power delivery of the engine I found quite a standout, quite honestly, how smooth it actually is. And you can certainly push on a little bit. It handles nicely, the steering is very direct. It's all those sort of features you'd want in a car of this sort, because the Coupe SUV definitely has a sporty kind of attitude about it. I would like to put it that way. But just overall, it's comfortable, it's smooth, it's luxurious, it's everything I think in this category. And you are comparing it to, for example, the Hyundai Kona, the Mazda CX-3. There are one or two others that you would compare it to in this category that would sort of come through in the same range and same way. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out there. The VW T-Roc, I think it is, would come in there, and I think you get my picture of what cars this is definitely competing against. And it certainly fits into that little niche category. Of course, the Opel Mokka is the other one that I was thinking of right now, and you saw that video on the channel not long ago at all. But very smooth, very comfortably. It's typically Toyota, but it's not typically Toyota. I think I'd like to sum it up that way by saying that, because when you think of the drivetrain, the reliability that you'd expect and hope for, etc., it's typical Toyota. But when you look at the outside in particular, it's not. And that's what I mentioned just now.
So the parking assist function on the Toyota is engaged by pushing this button here. If you go to the front, it then tells you now in parallel parking mode. And what you have to now do is drive forward and look for a parking space. I'm not going to film this at the same time because I've only done this once before and I don't want to crash the car. But Alan is going to film it from the outside. I'm going to follow the directions that the car gives me on the inside.
Okay, so now we're putting everything in William's hands. Oh no. This is
So we go forward.
Scary.
And it's now looking for a parking space for me.
It's picked it up.
Now it tells me I can back up.
Hang on. So you've now got to put it into reverse yourself.
I put it into reverse.
Okay,
myself,
all right.
right?
And then?
And then I've just cancelled it. Right, so let's start that again.
Okay, hang on. Should we start a new film?
Put it in reverse.
Okay.
Back up. Apply brakes, check surroundings. Now I'm hands off.
I'm just saying no hands on the wheel, eh, William?
No hands on the wheel.
And there goes the wheel. Look at that. There's the wheel spinning. There's the wheel spinning, and the car is busy swinging itself. No hands on the wheel, William. There it goes all the way back. All the way back. Now he's going to tell you to put it into drive again at some point.
What it's done, picked up, we've got an enormous parking space. It's used all of that space.
I assume it would do it with a tighter spot as well. Now you put it into drive and that's it. Okay, did you have to brake again yourself?
I had to brake.
Okay, so it's not fully autonomous, but it's certainly,
It's pretty damn close.
yeah, and that's it.
Well, for motor matters, Al, you get two for the price of one. Isn't this incredible?
Either that or they're going to just run away when they see your face.
My first time in a Toyota CHR, and when you said it was Toyota but not Toyota, I think that really resonates, because this car reminds me of the Nissan Juke. Who
Yeah.
started all this, let's be distinctive from the blobby type stuff.
Right.
And then Toyota released this, and,
Yeah.
and one has to say, it's certainly got the looks that are polarizing. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Once you're behind the driver's seat, I have to say I'm sold.
Okay.
I'm sold. I'm absolutely sold. I love this car. I think it's got intuitive, typical Japanese Toyota functionality. It's got toys galore, sensibly located. Everything works the way it should. I love the drive on the car. I even enjoyed the CVT box. What did I say enjoyed?
I heard you say that. I heard you say that now.
I enjoyed the CVT box. I think that they have come a long way, and this is probably one of the better examples of it.
By far.
I'm dying to compare it with the Creta on a slightly longer term test.
Yeah.
This one does, when you're changing down under aggression at speed on the highway, if you're wanting to overtake someone, it does a little bit of the old CVT nonsense. But in the day-to-day driving, did our camera just fall down?
Yeah.
In the day-to-day driving, no complaints at all. No complaints at all. And power from the motor is silky smooth. It is absolutely.
It seriously feels like it's a lot
1.2.
up here.
It doesn't feel like a 1.2.
And it feels like a lot more than 85 kilowatts.
It does. And I think that may be because it's turboed and we're at altitude.
Correct,
We're not having as much of a lag as we would at the coastal things. There were two things I found a bit annoying about the car. The one was the automatic cruise control.
Yeah.
It has got radar sensing on. But to turn this thing on involves about 35 different steps. Once it's on, it works okay.
Yeah, okay.
Except I didn't figure out how to tell it how far to set the adjustable distance on the car. And it set one that was about 3 kilometers long between you and the car in front of yourself. So you know what happens in South Africa.
Yeah. Right.
Going nowhere quickly. So I would use that probably 5 times out of 10.
Okay.
And the other one is it's also got automatic high beam assist. So pop it on and it turns the high beams on and off.
Okay.
That I found a little bit insensitive. I thought that you just need to resume manual control of it every now and then because it tends to lag a little bit when you've got oncoming traffic. And away you go. And then the car also comes with lane control and lane assist. So it actually keep you in your lanes. It's wonderfully light. So it's a very subtle version. It's not like the more aggressive versions we've had from our German counterparts, which yank the car back into it fixes the lane. This one is more polite. It's more sophisticated. It's more sort of typical Japanese.
And then one feature,
sir, would you please just mind going back into your lane? And if you really can't manage it, let me help you a little bit along the way. And I like that.
Yeah.
And you can also just turn it off from the steering wheel as opposed to trying to find some button on the dashboard that you need to now
or
click.
in 5 menus on the screen.
Menus, exactly that. So net overall, I think this is a total win. We want to demonstrate. We must mention that it's got automatic parallel parking.
Okay, well, we'll demonstrate that from outside the car in a few moments, right?
Which is a feature that we found fantastic.
Great.
That's it.
Jumping in behind the wheel as we always start off, and you'll see the instrumentation is pretty good, logical, and thorough. But one of the strange features I found is I could not find, for example, various features when I'm scrolling through on here, and it gives you lots of different information, but I was struggling to find, for example, the trip meters, etc., which I think I've just found now. And if you press trip over there, something should happen, and it still doesn't. But anyway, again, very difficult to pick up fuel consumption on this car. You'll see it saying over there, it also says on the screen over there, 8.2 liters per 100, but that's the last drive we've done, which is a bit weird, but anyway. But it seems like we've averaged around the 8 liters per 100 for this test, and that's a touch heavy for a car of this sort. Little bit heavier than I would like. Something else I find strange, William mentioned that, for example, the lane keep assist, there's a button there to switch it on or off, yet you've got an old-fashioned stalk for the cruise control. Active cruise control, yet it's just a stalk over there, which I found quite odd, and sort of, really, why aren't those buttons on the steering wheel for the cruise control? I'm being picky, I know I'm being picky, but that's what it's about, Alan's picky points. So I'm going to leave it there. But what you've got is you've got a soft touch on the dashboard for a change. People love tapping dashboards and showing how plasticky they are. Well, this has got cushioning to the leather on the dash, which is nice. Over here you've got, of course, your buttons on the door. And Toyota, why have we not got auto locking on pull-off? Please, I want it. You've got an unusual effect on the door over here, just to, I think, make the car feel a bit sportier. Now let's come over and have a look at, of course, the center screen, which is a nice 8-inch unit, and it's got pretty much everything you want. You go there, you get, for example, your fuel consumption, trip information, press home, it gives you that, press menu, you go there. It's as you would expect. Nothing unusual, nothing different. I'll leave it at that. It does have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, but interestingly, not wireless. You've got to use a cable to the USB hidden down there, which is a bit of a strange spot for it. And there's a 12-volt under the armrest, but we couldn't find any other USBs on the car. So either we just couldn't find them or they're very well hidden. I'm not sure what. But a little bit of a complaint I've got while we're down here is you've got this glossy black console, which looks very neat and very smart, except it shows every bit of dust on earth that somehow makes its way into the car. But something else. There's a little shelf there, which is not big enough for your phone. There's a space there, which is not big enough for your phone. So the only thing we could work out was to leave your phone in the cup holder. And it rattles around, but anyway, there's a second cup holder there. But that seems to be the only practical place to keep your phone. Okay, fine. We've spoken about the 10-speed CVT, smooth, comfortable, easy, and of course you've got electronic parking brake, you've got hill hold assist, and you can turn off the ESP if you're stupid enough to do that, or if you're really in hectic mood, one of the two. Dual zone climate control really works nicely, very efficient, etc. So you've got all the luxuries. Something we didn't mention to you just now, electric adjustment on the driver's seat, not on the passenger seat. But I think that's actually become quite a standard these days, and again, I can't complain about that. I like the electric adjustment for my seat. So it's features like that that you get. So as William has said, it's very typically Toyota, but it's got a luxury touch to it and a sporty feel to the overall experience that you are experiencing with this car. The question now becomes the luxury version as we're in now, as opposed to the Plus, the model immediately below. Same engine, same gearbox, same everything. You lose, of course, active cruise control. You lose the parking assist. You lose a few things like that. You keep 7 airbags though, so that's good. But you lose a few of those things. But 75,000 Rand less. Aina. Aina. This is a question I've always looked at. There are certain cars, when I test them, that I always say, you've got to go for the top model. And there's certain cars that I say, maybe there's better value lower down the range. I always advocate as much safety equipment as possible on cars. William, you know that, right? I always talk safety.
You do.
But is there a price on safety or isn't there a price on safety? And let me put it further in perspective. On the purchase price, that 75,000 Rand is nearly 20% on this car. That's ouch in my book.
What I think Toyota have done is that 75 grand is for toys, not for safety. So the argument here, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm being swayed by your argument here, is that it's only if you really want the top of the range, all the features, that you're going to drop an extra 75 grand on this car.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you about safety, because active cruise control, for example, to me is already a safety feature. And
Agreed.
Lots of cars should have that. So yes and no. But anyway, you know what? The point is you've got the choice.
You've got the choice.
So that's up to you. And you've got to think about that. So I'm saying 75,000 Rand, but I haven't told you the price, have I? 549 for this one, as we're in right now. Now, it's got one or two features. I mentioned earlier, Kona, Mocha, CX-3.
Yeah.
Now, they've all breached the 500 mark already.
Yeah.
Mocha, just for example, on test so recently.
520.
520, but it didn't have, for example, the parking assist.
No.
Had all the others, but not the parking assist. So I can kind of see where it's coming from. But you could just get away with 475 odd for the one without a few of the toys. You're getting a Toyota.
It's becoming a very crowded space, that particular pricing point, isn't it?
100%.
There's a lot of choice here.
Yeah.
And honestly, it comes down to, I really think that if you're in that bracket for buying a car, you got to go get your bum on all of the seats. You've got to get your bum on all the seats.
You'd be crazy not to test all of them.
Because they are all really, really good.
Yeah.
And the mix is what it's going to come down to.
Well, there's one other thing.
Ride,
There's one other thing.
space.
Even though this is a departure from the norm, it's a Toyota.
I do like, I do like the looks of this
Yeah.
car.
But
I have
what
to
I'm saying is it's not,
And-
it doesn't appear to be a normal Toyota,
But it's still a Toyota.
but it's a Toyota. And it's got the badge, it's got the dealer network, it's got the reputation, it's got all those things
It's going to last forever.
in a car that just looks so different.
Absolutely.
So that's something, again, is going to, and I'm sure that helps a lot on the sales floor.
Without doubt.
But you know what? You also get that six service 90,000 kilometer service plan nowadays from Toyota.
Yeah.
So that's thrown in. You get their warranty. You get all those things. We know you're going to get that.
Yeah.
Drive it for yourself
No, absolutely.
and drive the competitors. Then make your choices. And on that point, for Motor Matters, I'm Alan R. See you next time.